This is wildlife biologist Eric Orr for What's Wild in New Hampshire. There is. I was down in Hampton Beach State Park today doing a butterfly survey, my annual butterfly survey, and guess what we're going to do? I'm going to try it. I'm driving the New Hampshire coast. We just crossed from Salisbury, Mass. into Seabrook, New Hampshire, and maybe I can say a few things along the way. We have in New Hampshire an 18-mile coastline. Now, let's see what it looks like today. This is September 14th, 2023. Well, here is Seabrook, New Hampshire, the ocean side. If you were to look over that way, you would see the Seabrook Nuclear Power Station. Seabrook Station, built in the 70s, maybe early 80s. It was to have 2 turbines, but only one was ever actually completed. And so I have a story there. So when I worked for the New Hampshire Fish and Game Department, my 33-plus decade career, and I was a regional biologist down here in Region 3 out of the Durham office, one day I was called to the Seabrook Station to try to catch a turkey. Apparently a turkey was on property and kept setting off all kinds of alarms. They wanted to get rid of the turkey. I came down and chased it around. I think that's where I actually left a net to try to catch that turkey, because the fellow there thought he might do it with a net, and I don't think I ever went back and got it. So anyways, don't know what happened to the turkey, but Seabrook Station is right there to my left. There we go. Here's Tingsboro Street. A lot of these streets are all named after, Nashua Street, named after some Massachusetts towns. Hudson, New Hampshire, Hudson Street, yeah. There we go. So right here, right to the right, is Seabrook Beaches, where a story is in the 90s, maybe 2000s. I get a call, I happen to be in the office in Durham, that a piping plover had been discovered on Seabrook Beaches that was thinking about building a nest. So I came screaming down with stakes and ropes and met staff from headquarters, the non-game staff, and we roped off a section of the beach, the dunes, where we figured the first piping plover would nest, and sure enough it did. And I think I just read recently on the Fish and Game website that 2023 there was a record number of piping plovers in New Hampshire. I'm thinking something like close to a dozen nests between Seabrook and Hampton. So yes, the piping plovers have returned to New Hampshire shore, which we're driving along now. There's the Seabrook marshes out there. Well, there's a story. So I helped New Hampshire Audubon, Diane DeLuca, for many years, counting common terns on Great Bay, and we had 10 or a dozen nests at most. So here's the bridge going over Hampton River from Seabrook into Hampton. It's a drawbridge. And anyway, so we discovered some nests down here in the Seabrook Marsh. They were actually nesting on the flotsam, just the material that had been brought in on an extra high tide. So it was a very risky nest. And I think we had 3 or 4 nests that one year. I don't think they ever continued. But in the meantime, what has happened? So there's Hampton Beach State Park, where I just left, where I counted in 1 hour's time a total of 3 monarchs. The worst monarch count I have counted in the 20 years, or nearly 20 years, that I've been coming down here mid-September to do my annual monarch butterflies survey. And right now, monarch butterflies, this is the peak today, mid-September is the peak migration. They're migrating to mountains in western Mexico, west of Mexico City. From Hampton Beach State Park to Mexico City is 2,812 miles, and I think they're another 100 miles west of that. So call it 3,000 miles. The monarchs we saw today are migrating 3,000 miles to Mexico to overwinter. So here we go. We're coming into Hampton Beach itself. Hampton Beach story. Well, a little bit further up. So I would say in the 90s, there was a rogue bald eagle down here, theoretically attacking people. Well, I think this eagle had been fed or something, because it had an affinity to keep an eye on people, and if you threw something, it chased it. So right up here, just beyond the bandstand, we're going to get there in a second. So here to the left is the strip. You're probably seeing it there, yeah. Hampton Beach. Still plenty of cars here today, and good numbers of people, but of course Labor Day was a couple of weeks ago, so the crowd has thinned out. And last weekend was the big seafood festival. Oh yeah, I do remember climbing one of these buildings right here and trying to catch the eagle that was on the roof. I think it was the right over there, the Hampton Beach State Park facility. And I think he was up there, and I climbed up there, had a short ladder, got up there with a long pole with a noose, but he flew before I could catch him. So I came back down either that day or another day, I guess it was, because he was still around, the eagle, the bald eagle. And right up here, just beyond, right up here, I pulled into that parking lot right there, and guess what? The bald eagle, just as I got out, I could see the eagle was there, and somebody had thrown a football. It's like a football with a tail on it, and threw it to a little girl, the guy's daughter, and the eagle chased it and clawed the girl, and there was a photographer right there. It was a setup, I think, and got a picture of the eagle, quote unquote, attacking the little 8-year-old girl, which made, I think, national news. This rogue eagle attacking a little girl, which did so because the father threw the football so the eagle would chase it. It was a setup for the poor eagle. Eventually it was caught. Somebody did catch it, and it was brought to a rehabilitator, and I guess was released later. So here's Hampton Beach. You're looking at Hampton Beach. Well, there's my Hampton Beach story. That happened right here back in the 90s. So yeah, when fishing game regionalized in the fall of 1988, I ended up at the Region 3 office in Durham, and this was part of my territory that I covered. Did stuff down here. Oh, well, we'll go up here further. We'll see the owls and shoals, so we'll have some more stories.
Yeah, I never saw
I first remember coming to Seabrook in the 60s, so it was before I had a license. I came down here with Randy Healy and his father, Oscar, and we went clamming over in Seabrook. You know, between Labor Day and Memorial Day, I think on Saturdays and maybe Sundays you can clam in New Hampshire. You got to have a license. And if the weather permitting, no rain, so the sewer doesn't flow into the marshes, you get to dig clams with a license. So I first did that in the mid-60s. Never really came down here to hang out at Hampton Beach State Park or anything like that when I had my license. I just didn't do that. But during my working career, I was down here a lot, and I would come down lots in the wintertime. I would drive the coast to look at the waterfowl out here. Soon the loons from inland are moving down here now. We might see some today. I'll keep an eye out there. We might see some loons. They're about ready to leave the inland lakes here in another couple of, well, maybe several weeks to months, and some of them later than others, but there'll be some loons showing up here soon on our coast. And of course the winter waterfowl, eiders and long-tailed ducks and scoters, different kinds of scoters. Yeah, we'll have some ducks. But we're still in Hampton here. We're driving along the Hampton Beach. There's a big seawall. And, oh, what is it? It's 2:07 p.m. Thursday, September 14th, 2023. We are checking out the New Hampshire's coastline, 18 miles. We'll go up to Odeon Point State Park. If you go beyond that, you're getting into Portsmouth. You can see the ocean in places or back channel, but you got to get there. And in the meantime, you're driving through a lot of houses. So here, yeah, there'll be houses here, and of course a big seawall right now blocking it, but we'll see the ocean in places. Well, here is Route 1A, Hampton, New Hampshire. We're not too far from Northampton, We're up there. I can just about see Northampton from here. A lot of developments happened here since I've been coming over. You know, places torn down and bigger places built up. And some of the older places along here, as you can see, been here for decades. Here is the New Hampshire coastline, Thursday, September 14th, 2023. A few folks walking along. There's the ocean. I can see it over the top of that wall. Maybe you can't, but I can see it. Got some good waves today. We had a couple of hurricanes that are out there at a distance, but we got another one coming up. Going to hit the coast of, brush the coast of New Hampshire this weekend, Saturday. We're in for a blow and some rain, and the thing is going to be heading into Maine. Central Coast, Maine. Hey, where my camp is, we're going to get a full-on hurricane, maybe a Category 1 come Saturday. Yeah, things are going to be stirred up here, that's for sure. Maybe I'll come down and take a look at the tossing seas here come weekend. I might do that. I wouldn't mind coming down to see the hurricane brush by. Yeah, so I can see the waves out there, the ocean, over the top of that wall. Not so good for you on the dash, but there it is, Route 1A, Hampton, New Hampshire. I think the town line of Northampton is coming up here a little bit. Plenty of cars, not too many people around. Beautiful day, well into the 70s. Nice westerly breeze. I don't see, well, way off to the east, out over the ocean. I can see clouds. Well, I bet that's Hurricane Lee. Those clouds are probably from Hurricane Lee there. It's a huge hurricane, several hundred miles, I think like 700 miles wide. So yeah, that's probably Hurricane Lee clouds right out there. This is Thursday afternoon. It'll be bearing down on us tomorrow, Friday, and hitting here Saturday, probably Friday night or Saturday. All right, let's see. I think the Northampton town line is right in here someplace. See if we can see the marker. I don't know, it's right here. Not too far away. I think we might be in Northampton now. So, coastal towns have the highest density of deer by far. There are years that 6 or 8 deer per square mile are killed down here. Way more deer here on the coast than anywhere else in the state. Rye, Hampton, Northampton, Southampton. Yeah, the deer population is very dense here. The bears arrived over here on the coast. As the former New Hampshire fishing game bear biologist, I kind of tracked the observations of bear over my career, and they kind of swept around the bottom side of Great Bay in the 90s. Late 90s, I think it was, before we had bears. And so early 2000s before we had, and there's probably not a lot, but there certainly are bears in every town here on the coast now. That didn't occur prior to the 1990s. So yeah, you have bears, black bears, in every one of these towns that were not here 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago maybe. Beautiful flowers, some nice homes along here, as you can see. We're cooking right along. Traffic's not bad, you can see. Yeah, we're driving New Hampshire's coast. Thursday, September 14th, 2023. Now we're coming into Rye. I see that sign over here. What's the sign say? No, I was wrong. There is the sign for Northampton. I was thinking it was further back. Well, because we're right at Northampton Beach, that's why, yeah. There it is. Here's the Northampton Beach. Spent quite a bit of time there. My wife is from Northampton. So early on in the late 60s, yeah. My wife and I would spend a lot of time at Northampton Beach. And some folks here it is, Northampton State Beach, right there. There's the beach plum. Ooh, delicious food there. Maybe I'll come back down here and have lunch. Oh yeah, maybe. Northampton Beach State Park right there. It's Northampton State Beach. Pretty busy today. A lot of cars, quite a few people. High tide. Not much beach there. The tide's right in. Oh, I can see the Isles of Shoals out there now. Isles of Shoals, what, 9 miles, 8 miles off the coast, 7 miles off the coast of New Hampshire. They did spend some time out there a few times, helping the New Hampshire Audubon restore common terns. Common terns, yes. In the mid-90s, I brought the very first crew of New Hampshire Audubon out there to, here's a couple of surfers out there. You see the surfers? They're out there. So there you go. Now we're going to see there, the one with the, you probably can't make it out. But anyhow, it's White and Seabrook Island, where I helped a little bit, small part, in helping bring back common terns to New Hampshire. I told you I was down there in Great Bay with Diane DeLuca in the early 90s. We were counting terns there, maybe 10 or a dozen nests. And now, thanks to our restoration efforts, kind of paid for by New Hampshire Fish and Game, and but the work was done by New Hampshire Audubon. There are now 3,000 pairs of common terns out at the Isles of Shoals. So I brought the crew out there to set up the original decoys and boom box to blast the sound of tern calls. And I think that first year something like a dozen nested out there at the Isles of Shoals, and of course you had Audubon staff out there to chase away the gulls, and it was the gulls that had killed them off. You know, we fed all these gulls our garbage, and the numbers grew, and they killed and ate all the terns out there for probably a half a century or more. There were no terns out at the Isles of Shoals until a successful restoration effort by New Hampshire Audubon. So 3,000, there's the owls out there now. 3,000 pairs of terns out there, I think, plus some roseate and Arctic terns, very rare, federally protected Arctic and roseate terns. Yeah, oh, some surfers out there. This is a great spot right here to see wintering ducks in the wintertime. You can pull over here and count the ducks in the wintertime and see what's out there, see what you can get. And there'll always be some loons here. Guaranteed to see loons here in the wintertime. Well worth the drive along the coast year-round, really. Yeah. Well, we're still in Northampton. Trying to think how far Rye is up here. Not too far. We're still in Northampton here. Here's the big surfing area. You can see all these cars here are pretty much surfers out there. Oh, I see the sign for Rye coming up on Rye right here. There's the sign right here for Rye, New Hampshire. Here is the coast of Rye. Beautiful New Hampshire coast, our 18 miles. We're driving the better part of it today, where we can actually see the water, see the ocean. Go much beyond Odeon Point up here. We'll turn around because you know, you're into Portsmouth, into the city, and you won't have these kinds of views. But here we got the view of the ocean. Route 1A, Rye, New Hampshire, Thursday, September 14th, 2023. Beautiful, beautiful day. But you can see the cloud banks over the ocean. That's probably from Lee. I'm guessing it's closing in. It's a huge storm. What do you see out here? I have not seen a loon yet. I've been casting my eyes out there and driving along Route 1A, but you can flick your eyes out there and check. I have not seen a loon yet. There may be some here. I just have not spotted one yet. It's a little bit early for them. They'll be here in another month or two. Come winter, there'll be plenty out here. Yeah, in New Hampshire, had over 200 pairs of nesting loons this year. The loon population has continued to grow over the last 3 decades thanks to the Loon Protection Center. Yeah, LPC. Yeah, they've been working on it, bringing back the loons. We got more loons. We're loony with loons now in New Hampshire, thanks to the Loon Preservation Center, LPC. Yeah. Harry Vogel and crew up to LPC Harry have done good. He's been there a long time, and the loons have come back. Just saw this morning from New Hampshire Audubon 109 pairs of territorial bald eagles this year. Record number, 76 nests. Here on the left is Eel Pond. I see some Canada geese out there. Eel Pond. There used to be some nesting swans out there, and Fish and Game, back when I was still there, we would go out there and basically make the eggs so they wouldn't hatch, because mute swans are a invasive species, and in fact they drive off all the native wildlife. They are territorial, will not let any ducks or other native waterfowl nest if their swans are there, so they displace native wildlife. And for a period of years, I'm not sure if it's still going on, but Fish and Game staff, wildlife biologists would go around to all the loon nests here on the coast and make sure the eggs were not going to hatch. Don't know if that's ongoing anymore or not, but I'm not seeing the loons that we used to see, that's for sure. So yeah, here's the Rye Beach back there. Yeah, so here we got that big houses that have been here a long time between us and the ocean. Not much to see right here. Maybe we'll swing into Rye Harbor up here for a closer look. We are cruising Route 1A, Rye, New Hampshire, Thursday, September 14th. Checking out the New Hampshire coastline. You'll have the better part of it. Old Beach Road, it says there in Rye. Hey, you know, right here, there's a sign right up here. Maybe I've been by it. The first cable crossing from Europe was brought right here to Rye in the Atlantic Cable right there. There it is. It came right here. First cable in the early 1900s, I believe. So first cable crossing of the Atlantic Ocean came to Rye, New Hampshire. Have to look that one up. Check it out on your phone. You'll get the answer. Check out the first cable to North America. Came right in there, here in Rye. Coming up on Rye Harbor here up ahead. We'll swing in there for a quick look. Let's see here. Do I have a Rye Harbor story? I've gone out of there a few times, not many. You can get some whale watching here in the summertime out of Rye Harbor. A good place to come if you want to go on a whale watching expedition. Come to Rye Harbor. Let's just take a swing through and see what's going on, if anything. You know, I've been hoping to spot a monarch butterfly or two as I drove along. Typically, if you drive along like I have, you'll see a monarch or two. None. Monarch numbers only 3 in my hour survey today. In Hampton Beach State Park, I saw a total of 3 monarchs. The lowest number I think I've ever seen in the nearly 20 years I've been doing it. So here's Rye Harbor, right here. Very protected harbor. Another place in the wintertime, you come down, you get some ducks right in here close. You can see, you know, very, very close. You get your ducks right in here. Yeah, I've launched here a few times. Go out sea duck hunting and stuff. So there, here's the ramp. There's the water. Rye Harbor, New Hampshire. Yeah. I don't think we'll linger here. Not a lot to see. Alright, get back out on the road. Right there, Granite State Whale Watch, tickets, gifts, vintage tackle gear and charters. Oh geez, you can do all sorts of stuff here at Rye Harbor. Buy lobsters over here. Everything looks like it's pretty well locked up right now. Season is kind of come and gone for 2023. But you could come in 24. Let's look at these sunflowers here. It'd be nice to see a monarch over there or something. I'm not sure they like sunflowers. Take a quick look at them. No monarchs here. Let this bicyclist go by. And a car. And here we go. Rye Harbor, going by Rye Harbor. Well, this is a little bit longer video than I'm usually do, but anyway, it's something different today. I was down checking hay. Right here is where my wife took swim lessons when she was 9 or 10 years old. First thing in the morning, a dip in the Atlantic Ocean, Rye Harbor, for her swimming lessons. She is not a good swimmer. It didn't work. That's all I can tell you. And I don't blame her. Who would want to swim in the Atlantic Ocean at 8 in the morning if you're, and even a kid. Kids are usually impervious to the cold, but that would definitely not be my cup of tea. I'm down here at 8 o'clock in the morning for a dip in the Atlantic Ocean. Here we go. Here's Rye Harbor State Park right here we're in. Rye Harbor State Park is another place, you know, in the wintertime, it's somewhat in the summer, but you come down here in the wintertime, you're going to see some waterfall out here, especially if it's stormy. They'll be in here where it's protected. Quite a few people here today for some reason. Yeah, I guess they're enjoying the day as I am. Beautiful day. Nice breeze out of the west. Mid-70s, I'm guessing. Pretty nice. We're not far from the end of our trip here, you know. We get up here and back onto Route 1A. We got just a few more miles to wrap up this tour of Route 1A and the New Hampshire coast. Yeah, here's the big corner. Good seafood up here. Yeah, if you haven't eaten here before, you want to come down. But you know what? I am seeing a number of there we go. Ray's Seafood. That's what I wanted to mention. There, Ray's Seafood on the left. Good spot to come and get a meal. Dragonflies today, I'm seeing way more dragonflies than I am monarch butterflies. Even in Hampton Beach State Park, there was some number of, I'm talking 8 or 10 dragonflies today, and just saw some there. Where they're hatching out of, maybe there's some saltwater varieties or brackish water varieties hatch out over there in the salt marsh. I don't know where the dragonflies are coming from down here on the coast. There's not a lot of fresh water. All right, we're cooking along Route 1A, Rye, New Hampshire. 18-mile coastline for New Hampshire. We're going to drive the majority of it. You know, I did not click it in there, but yeah. We'll get up here to Orion Point where I'll have another thing to say, and I will give you a secret. I will give you the Orion Point secret. Coming up. I am not seeing another monarch. There should be some monarchs flying along here. Where are the monarchs? Driving the whole coast. There should have been 4 or 5 monarchs here that I've seen. And there are none. Alright. How's the shoals out there to the east? Some nice places along here. Rye is like one of the #1 deer towns in New Hampshire. If you want to see some deer, I guess, come to Rye. Rye, of course, it's tough hunting them here because all the development, urban areas, but they still take quite a few deer out of Rye. One of the most years it tops or nearly tops the state list of highest towns for deer being taken out of. Rye, Northampton, Southampton. Oh yeah. Cruise right along Route 1A here. Traffic's not bad. There's houses along here. So yeah, the road's not really along the ocean here. You got that development, but up here, another beach, Rye Beach coming up, I think, isn't it? Let's see, where am I? Driving New Hampshire's coast. New Hampshire's coast, a beautiful Thursday afternoon, 2023. Beautiful day. Beautiful, beautiful day. It is nice. Alright. And we got up here, come around this corner, come around to Wallace Sands State Park. This is where I was here a week ago, came down, spent a good part of the day, midday at Wallace Sands State Park right here. Great place to come and hang out right there, Wallace Sands. If you're 65 or older and a state resident, it's free. And of course now, it's free anyways because they aren't charging. They don't charge. Just like, see, something's going on there. There's a whole ring of outhouses that weren't there the other day, I can tell you that. And, yeah, Wallace Sands State Park. My favorite place to come in the summertime. It's usually not all that crowded. I mean, it's crowded, but you can find a place to set a chair. That's for sure. Got some sailboats out there today. What a day! What a day to drive the coast. If you haven't been down to New Hampshire's coast for a drive along the coast, you're missing out. This is awesome. Year round. I came down here and drove it just before Christmas. I'll tell you why in a minute. Yeah. Pulpit Rock up here, a observation platform. I think that was built during World War II to look out for enemy ships. It is owned by the New Hampshire Fishing Game Department. I actually had arranged to have a cell tower put there. Right along here, Hampton or Northampton, Rye. Forget using your cell phone if you're at the beach. Right there at Pulpit Rock, I had it all lined up to put in cell towers, but the local folks didn't want one there. So there is no cell tower at Pulpit Rock. In fact, the guy said that you could put 3 or 4 in there at, like $1,000 a month each at the Fishing Game. But nope, it was kiboshed. So no cell coverage for the coast because we can't have a cell tower at Pulpit Rock observation place. Go figure that one out. Another thing I was involved with. So we're now at almost the end of our tour today. Odeon State Park is coming up. Maybe we'll drive in there. Maybe we'll finish there rather than right here. Well, I'll tell you something first. Right up here is one of my secret spots. And I'm going to let you in on my secret right here. Coming up, I'm going to be turning in this next parking lot, and I will arrive at my secret spot. Let's see if I can drive to my secret spot or if somebody has it. I think I can drive there. Yeah. So right here, Odeon State Park. And you drive right over here. You drive up here. You go up on this little knoll, and you would look south when let these folks go by. So here's where I come, my secret spot to watch launches of satellites from Cape Kennedy, Florida. Yes, you can. You go to you go online and you learn when they're going to be launching a satellite, especially Starlink satellites, SpaceX Starlink, and you come and park right here nighttime, by the way. The first time that I watched a rocket launch was in 29 or 10. There was a night launch, I think, of the Space Shuttle Atlantis. And I came here and I had my computer at home tuned into the NASA station, and was able to get through to my wife on the phone, which I told you, cell phones don't work very good, but sometimes you can make a call. And we counted down, and the rocket lifted off, the space shuttle lifted off, and right over the ocean, right here, I watched an orange candle right along just over the horizon. It looked like a candle, I can tell you that. It was an orange flame, very distinct. It was the shuttle. I flew down to Florida once to watch the shuttle. I like this one better. It was me alone here one night watching a shuttle launch from Odeon Point, New Hampshire. And I have watched probably 8 or 10 more launches here, especially the SpaceX Starlink when they were first launching. They were coming right up the coast, right up the New England coast, and I could sit here and you would see an orange dot. Now, it's like a star. It's not really bright. You put the binoculars on it, you can see that it's flame, an orange flame, so it's not white like a star. It is definitely orangish yellow, and you get the binoculars on it. And one night, it came right up overhead and shut off right overhead. So I watched a satellite being launched, and I watched it as it went into orbit from Odeon State Park, Odeon Point, right here. So if you want to see a rocket launch, come to Odeon. I have been down here during the day once when they were launching, but it clouded up. So I have not actually attempted to see a launch during the day, and maybe you could. I have watched a number of launches, mostly the SpaceX Starlinks, but I also came down and watched, I think it was an Atlas rocket, a big one. And that one went mostly east. It didn't come north, but for about 20 seconds, you could really see it was brighter than most others. A bright orange flame as the thing went by off down to the south. So you got to look right at the horizon with a pair of binoculars, and you can see satellites being launched. And if you're really lucky, like I was, you can see one come right up and go into orbit right over your head. And the orbit speed is 17,500 miles an hour. Yes. But it only took like 8 minutes from launch for me to see the shuttle back in the early 2000s. And but since I haven't been down here lately, I have you got to go to you got to go to a website and find out when there's a night launch and come down to Odeon Point to see yourself. My secret place to watch rockets launch from Florida. You can do it right here. Yes, you can. Awesome place, Odeon Point. Important military base during World War II, protecting Portsmouth, protecting the shipyard and all that. So yeah, very important during World War II, and the bunkers are still there. Yeah, you can go to Odeon State Park. We'll pull in there right now. I guess we won't end. I was going to end right here. We'll go a little bit further. We'll go to the Odeon State Park just so you can see it, a windshield view. And these marshes, if they don't skim over in the wintertime right off, and they melt early in the spring, another great place to see waterfall. There's ducks there now. Get some divers. And all right, the last call, today's tour, will take us into Odeon State Park. Coming up on the right. Great military base during World War II. There used to be a stone house out here. So before it was open to the public, really, you could sort of get in here. And actually, I hunted in here back then. I actually hunted pheasants in here at one point in time. There were some birds around. Gee, there's somebody here. Huh. They're actually collecting money today. Huh. pay here. I'm not paying, I'm leaving. Plus I'm old, I don't have to. Hello.
How are you?
Old. Doing a drive-through today.
What's that?
Doing a drive-through.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
All right. You know, we have I just saw What's Wild in New Hampshire. We have a juvenile red fox running around here.
Oh, nice.
Saw him today.
Saw the fox. Cool. Great spot out here. I love it.
He came from this direction. I saw him over here. He was running around here.
Yep.
And then he went a little into the woods there. Next thing you know, he's crossing over here.
Yep.
And I think he's back over in the tree line, either over there or back on this side.
All right. Nice. Well, maybe I'll get a glimpse of him.
Maybe.
Have a good day.
You too.
Always helpful people here at the parks. New Hampshire State Parks. You can count on good people being in the booths talking to you. Yeah. Great people here in New Hampshire at our parks. Well, there's a bench down here that honors John Nelson. He was the chief of the marine fisheries when I worked at Fish and Game in the Region 3 office in Durham. I was in the Region 3 office. I had mostly marine staff, but me and another wildlife biologist worked out of the same office. John, awesome guy. Passed away some years back. There's right there. You can see I think it's right over there, the bench. There's a bench memorializing John Nelson. Awesome fellow. I think of him often, and sometimes I'll come down here and sit on that bench. I won't do it today. I think it's actually, let me turn around here. Missed that car. Let's wrap it up right here. So there is New Hampshire's coastline. We could continue on, but you got to go through Portsmouth. It's just not a thing to do. All right, this is the longest one I've ever done. Anyways, this is wildlife biologist Eric Orr for What's Wild in New Hampshire. Today, the coast of New Hampshire was wild.